Hey everyone, hi Joe.
Hi.
Before we start this video, I wanted to let you know that in the process of making my salsa, my blender stopped working properly. So I know you're going to notice that I switched it over to a food processor and I kept saying blender. So I just kind of wanted to give you guys some context behind that as to why that happened. I've had this blender for probably 20 years and it still works really, really well, but it does not like to blend up my salsas anymore, apparently. We may need to get a new one. But anyway, I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of context because I know that I said that, and as I'm editing it, I'm looking at it going, oh my gosh, I really need to provide some context behind this. So anyway, that's what happened. It happens, this is why I have two of everything, because in case something, breaks or doesn't work as well as I would like it to, because it's, 20 billion years old, I have a backup always. So, I still, it worked out. It tasted great. The salsa's delicious. It does. That's what happened. It is what it is. But I just needed you guys to know so you weren't like, this lady doesn't even know what a food processor is. Nope, totally do. Got two of them, but only one blender. So there you go. Thanks, guys. Enjoy. Today's all about fish tacos. I have been having a hankering for mahi-mahi fish tacos, so I decided that today is the day. So the first thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and I want to take my grill pan. I use a cast iron grill pan when in the house. And I'm going to put that into the oven. The reason I'm going to put this in the oven is because typically whenever you heat up a cast iron skillet, even though it's cast iron, it still can have hot spots. And so by preheating it in the oven, you are heating it all the way around and not just in certain areas on the burner. Our pan is in the oven preheating. We're going to go ahead and start our pickling liquid. So we just have a medium saucepan and we're going to start it on medium-high heat because we want to get this to boil. In here I have 1 cup of vinegar. You can use any kind of vinegar you want. I actually have a mixture of white wine vinegar and white distilled vinegar. It's about half and half on the ratios there. And I have about 2 tablespoons of lime juice. You need that is the additional citrus flavor. We're going to do a tablespoon of sugar and a teaspoon of salt. We're just going to put that in the pot there. And I'm going to go ahead and whisk this together. Just to kind of break it up a little bit so that it dissolves. We're going to bring that to a boil so that all those flavors can come together. And in here I have 1 purple onion, thinly sliced, and 1 serrano chili, thinly sliced. While this is coming to a boil, I want to go ahead and I love making salsa from scratch. I love the flavors. I love taking the time to put all of the ingredients together and just tasting the outcome. I think it's top notch. There is I would say that there's probably not one salsa that comes in a jar that can quite compare to homemade. So we are going to do that too. Okay, our pickling liquid is just about to a boil, and I want to make sure that the sugar is dissolved along with the salt. And then we're going to just take it off the heat once it's boiling and pour it over the onions and the serrano chilies. I might have said jalapeno chilies earlier. I did not mean that. I meant serranos. Okay, it's at a boil, so I'm going to go ahead and turn that off. And very carefully, just going to pour it right over. The pickles, or the onions and the jalapenos. And I can already see the vinegar working its magic, and they're turning a nice pink. Okay, so I'm going to just let this sit over to the side for just a minute so that it cools down. I don't want to set it in the refrigerator too hot, otherwise the glass will break. So now for the salsa. So I am taking 6 plum tomatoes, 1 onion, and a serrano chili. Just one. Last time we used 2. It was good. It was hot though, but it was really good. And some lemon, lime, and cilantro. And we're just going to cut these in half. Blender. We're just going to cut them in quarters so that they're small, but not so small that they're going to become liquefied in the blender. Now, with cilantro, all of the flavor is in the stems, not just the leaves. So you could essentially use the stems and the leaves. All right. We're going to use most of the stems. Put these aside. All right. And then all I'm going to do with the serrano is I'm just going to chop off the top of it. I'm going to leave the seeds. I want the seeds in there. I want it to be hot. If you do not want it to be as hot, you can go ahead and remove the seeds by cutting it right down the middle and opening it up. And okay, I have 3 cloves of garlic here that I'm going to put in. I normally just put in about 1 clove of garlic, but I never can quite taste the garlic in my salsa, so I'm just going to use 3 instead. That way, I'm going to use 3 instead. That way I can taste it a little bit. Okay, and also lime juice. Lime juice is essential. You have to have acid in your salsa. So we are going to go ahead and put all of this in the blender. I also use seasoning, salt, pepper, cumin in the salsa. And now for the salsa. I have lime juice and 3 cloves of garlic. I have 6 plum tomatoes, 1 onion quartered, and some cilantro. And don't forget to use the stems of the cilantro. That's what you need to do. And we're just going to pulse this until it's the consistency we want. You don't have to have a chunky salsa. You can definitely make it smooth if you want. We like it a little chunky. So I'm just going to pulse it. All right, just a few more pulses. All right. So now I'm just, whoops. So now I'm just going to take a look at it, see if it's where I want it, and we're going to take a taste of it and see if it's how we want it to taste. Okay, so now I'm just going to taste it. Still has a kick from one serrano. We are definitely done with this. That is hot and delicious. I'm sure the family will love it. Ooh, y'all ought to try that. Okay, just in case you missed what that salsa looks like, there you are. Doesn't that look beautiful? I think it looks beautiful. Can't wait to eat it. So now we need to shred some cabbage because this is going to be basically our lettuce for our Mahi-Mahi tacos. I don't use lettuce on Mahi-Mahi because it tastes so much better with a cabbage. So I'm just going to shred up, I should say, a little bit of green and then a little bit of purple cabbage. And that's going to be the basis for our cabbage slaw, if you will. A little bit of the pickling liquid that I use for the onions and the serranos. And I'm going to put it over top of the cabbage and just kind of soften it up, if you will. Hi. Hi. Connor's saying hi, everybody. They can't see you, Connor. Okay, so I am going to just put the shredded cabbage in a bowl and I'm going to set it to the side for now while I wait for that pickling liquid to completely cool. It's currently in the fridge. It did cool down enough to where I could get it in the fridge. So it is there coming together at the moment. And once it's done, we'll go ahead and put about 1/4 of a cup of it on here onto the cabbage slaw, and then we'll let it sit for just a few minutes while we finish up our tacos. I'm finishing up chopping up a little bit of cilantro for the actual tacos. We're gonna just put it in a little bowl and set it aside. And we're almost ready to serve. Well, actually, we're almost ready to cook our fish. Let's not get ahead of ourselves because I just did. We are going to use some beautiful mahi-mahi. And one thing about fish is you always want to put acid on it, some sort of citrus. I prefer to use lemon or lime. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make a pot of black beans, and basically I'm going to do this a quick way. I took a can of black beans and I drained them out because I want to make my own seasonings and all of that. I don't know if you know this, but whenever you try to get juice out of a lemon or a lime, if you roll it with the palm of your hand on a flat surface, what you're doing is you're working the juice loose from the fruit. And that way you get a little bit more juice than you normally would if you didn't do that. So the first thing I'm going to do is turn on my pot to about medium high. And I'm going to add just about a tablespoon of vegetable shortening. If you want to use an oil, you can use an oil. I want to use shortening today because it adds a little bit more flavor. Normally I would use an oil. And I got some onions out over here that I wanted to go ahead and add to the pot. Okay, so the vegetable shortening is melted down. I'm going to add some onion. And I just want to little pieces of shell there, or skin, I should say. So we're just going to let this go for just a minute or two. I'm also going to be putting in a little bit of, about 1/4 of a cup of apple cider vinegar. This is not the traditional way that you make beans, but I thought I'd give it a shot. Never hurts, right? Try something new. While we're letting those soften, excuse me, I'm going to cut up my lime because we're going to add some lime juice too. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add the lime juice directly to the vinegar, just to get it out of the way here. And I am going to use the juice of 1 whole lime. These are small limes though, so it's not too much. There are some limes I've seen that are huge, and I don't know why, but okay. All right, the next thing I'm going to do is add the beans. I'm going to go ahead and add those. Onions are slightly softened. I kind of wanted the beans to just cook by themselves without too much liquid at first. Today was a no nap day. It happens. It happens. All right, and then I want to go ahead and add my seasonings. And here I have cumin, onion powder, garlic powder, salt, pepper, and tahini. I don't know if you know what tahini is, but it's a citrusy blend of spices that are delicious and really add a burst of flavor to any dish that you make. It is traditional Mexican seasonings, and personally, Mexican food is my favorite cuisine, so why wouldn't I put that in all my food? You know what I mean? Okay, and now I'm going to go ahead and add some liquid to the pot. I'm going to give them something to steam with, right? Okay. All right. Go ahead and get these covered up. And switch that out now. Get these covered up and get the heat turned up so that that liquid comes to a boil to infuse that flavor into the beef. All right, those are boiling nicely. I'm gonna turn the heat down to medium. And now I'm gonna cut up my lemons. So I wanna do 1/2 lemon on each piece of fish before it goes into the grill pan. And afterward, we're going to use wedges to re-flavor them if need be. I might also cut up just a little bit of lime in a little bit, just in case those flavors are wanted instead of the lemon. I personally love lemon, so whatever. Either or will work. All right, now this is our fish again, and I'm going to season it with salt and pepper. Usually I really should put this in a dish and sprinkle it, but today we're just not gonna do that. I don't know why. Life, I suppose. Okay, and you want to make sure that you season properly. You want to make sure that the flavor goes throughout. Okay. On this side, I'm going to go ahead and put some some lemon juice on it. And I'm just going to drizzle it on. Work that in a little bit. Now keep in mind that acid actually cooks fish, which is what is used in ceviches. So when you put your lemon juice on your fish, you want to make sure that you're ready to go with it in the pan soon. It doesn't have to be right away, but within the next couple of minutes. With that said, our pan is finally hot, and I can go ahead and get that out of the oven, and we're going to get it on the burner. Get a little bit of, you do still need to oil it, so we're going to get a little bit of oil on it, and then we're going to get the fish on the grill. As a quick reminder, whenever you take a pan out of the oven, keep in mind that the handle is extremely hot. So I put a pot holder on it so that it so that I don't touch it by mistake. Okay, now we're about ready to put our fish on. I'm just going to season the other side with lemon juice. I'm going to season the other side with lemon juice, and we are going to get this on. Now we have those wisps of smoke that we're looking for. The best spatula to have for fish is a fish spatula. So I'm going to take the one piece of Mahi-Mahi. Listen to that. And this will be very quick. So while this is going, I want to put my tortillas in the oven. I already have them wrapped up in some aluminum foil, and I'm just going to toss them in the oven. It's 610 now, so we'll need to put it in for probably about 5-10 minutes. They're small ones of the fajita size, so we don't want them in too long. Otherwise, what they'll do is they'll get hard, and we don't want hard tacos. All right. And these are cooking very fast, as I knew that they would. Yeah, so let's flip this one over. We have incredible scent here going on. It smells so, so good. So while that's finishing, I'm just going to grab the pickled onions. And I just want to, yeah, those are looking great. I just want to take about 1/4 cup of this liquid and put it right on top of the shredded cabbage that I have. Now, one of the reasons that I did 2 types of cabbage, the purple and the green, is because I wanted to give a lot of color to the dish. So I'm just going to, and you know, honestly, here, let's just do it this way. I know what 1/4 cup is, so it'll be fine. Okay. Oh, I want that. All right. So now I have the pickling liquid. And I'm going to toss it. And again, this is just going to sit until we are ready. You put a little bit of salt on it. Careful, salt draws out moisture. All right. So I'm going to put this to the side, let it sit for just a second. Check my fish. Perfect. Look at this beautiful fish. It is done. So we're going to move this out of the way. Since I had raw fish on it, put the dry or the cooked fish on it. Turn off the burner. Move the pan off the burner because you don't want to leave that on either. And we're almost about ready to put together our tacos. I'm just waiting on the beans to be done. I'm going to stir them, and then I'm going to get everything ready to start assembling the tacos. Okay, so everything is done. Everything's ready to go. I'm just going to, ooh, taste this fish. Ooh, that's a really nice flavor. So I'm just going to cut them into strips because you don't want a full piece of fish on your taco. You just want a little bit. Cut this one right down the middle. There we go. And I mean, this fish is beautiful on the inside. I don't know if you could see that. Beautiful on the outside. And it looks delicious. I cannot wait to eat it. So this one's done. And we're just going to, I'm just going to cut this one right down the middle. Cut, oops, little pieces. This looks so good. I can't wait. Okay. All right, fish tacos cut, ready to go. The next thing is assembly. So like I told you before, I had put some tortillas in the oven to warm up for a little bit. And they are all done. I only put them in for just a few minutes. They have had time to cool down a little bit so I can touch them. So what I want to do is take just a little bit of the fish, and I'm just going to place it right here on the tortilla. We're going to put a little bit of our cabbage slaw. I'm going to get both colors in there. Just lay that right down. A little bit more because the crunch is definitely a contrast to the soft from the taco and the shell or tortilla. Pickled onions. That was a lot. These ones are still kind of cut together. And cilantro. And there you have it. This is our Mahi-Mahi fish taco. I just want to taste that. Oh, God. Oh, my God. Hold on. I'm going to need a minute. The softness of the fish with that lemon. The crunch of the cabbage with that pickling liquid on it. The pickled onions. I didn't even need to put additional lemon on it, although I'm going to. But that was exactly what I needed. That was so good. And our beans. I'm going to put them on the side. I tasted these earlier. They're really good. I'm going to taste those though. Get a fork here. Just taste those delicious beans. You got the bean, you have the onion. That apple cider vinegar adds a really nice flavor to those beans. These are not your traditional bean. These are bold flavored, delicious, well-balanced beans, for sure. And last but certainly not least, our salsa that we made. You made it too, right? You were there? Yeah. And it is delicious salsa. This salsa is really spicy, really flavorful. I tasted it earlier because you always taste after you make something, so you know if it needs more seasoning or if it's good just as is. This one, no, that does not need a thing other than more chips. So there you have it. Mahi-Mahi fish tacos. You have your black beans with apple cider vinegar and lime juice and onions, cabbage slaw, pickled onions, cilantro. It's perfect. Salsa. We have got the perfect meal. You guys, it doesn't take that long. Fish literally cooks so fast, so it doesn't take very long to make. You can do half of this stuff on the weekend. You know, make the pickled onions 2 days ahead of time. Make the slaw maybe a day. Maybe a day. That pickling liquid tends to draw out moisture, so you probably just want to make this a day in advance if need be. Otherwise, you can just shred it up real quick, put some liquid on it, and let it sit. But it's so simple. It's a perfect weeknight meal. I hope you guys had a great time. I hope that you will make this for your family. I hope you'll hit like to this video and subscribe if you haven't already. And to those of you who have subscribed, thank you. I'm having a blast with all of this instructional, fun cooking videos. My kid's getting in trouble, so that's a bonus for you all. Have a good night.